Actually, Microsoft's cloud-based PC management system. It offers several advantages over the traditional on-premises installations of management software, not the least of which is lower infrastructure costs, and it's far less invasive than those solutions in general. One of the challenges that we face in any sort of administrative duties is dealing with businesses that have multiple configurations of machines, multiple hardware configurations, different software, even different versions of operating systems. And workers can be in many different locations, different sites. It's very difficult to have a good understanding of the status of any given PC at any given time, unless you happen to be right in front of it. So Windows Intune looks to answer these issues by providing a lightweight and easy-to-use management application. Because it's cloud-based, an administrator can manage a business's machines from anywhere provided that they have an internet connection. And that's just about all that's required to run Windows Intune on a system. Windows Intune also offers standardization by providing Windows 7 enterprise licenses for each seat. And so as a result of this, it can provide a homogeneous operating system environment that reduces the chaos that can ensue from running many different OSs at the same time. So if you decide to use the Windows 7 Enterprise license, which is not required by Windows Intune, but should you decide to use it, you also have access to all future versions of Windows. So when Windows 8 goes live next year sometime, you will be able to upgrade your machines to that. It's very easy to get started with Windows Intune, even if you have another system already in place. It is a very simple install on each machine, and after that, the administrator will have access to them through the web-based administration console. Because it's a web-based utility, or a cloud utility rather, it's updated very, very frequently. So you don't really see it going for long periods of time without quirks or issues being addressed. Windows Intune comes with Microsoft Endpoint Protection, which is a very advanced anti-malware suite. And it maintains the systems every bit as well as the other commercial solutions available. It's less invasive in many ways. And through the Intune Management Console, you can determine when each system will be scanned, push updates through, all of these things that are just part of day-to-day administrative duties. You can manage the updates that every system receives. One of the problems that we see all the time in the field is the one lone system that somehow is still running XP Service Pack 2 or something like this, and has somehow, because an update failed or it was overlooked, this system is very far behind the times, and now it can't run something that it needs to. Windows Intune allows you to see the update status of any given machine, approve, decline updates, set due dates for the updates to go through, so it's very much similar to a WSUS server in this way. And it also proactively monitors every computer connected to it, which is to say, if a problem is detected, Windows Intune knows about it immediately, and it notifies the administrator through email. And you can customize those settings a bit if you wish, as to exactly how aggressive it is in its notification. Windows Intune also provides remote assistance to the users. There is a link on the desktop that the user can access, and it provides all of about 3 options so as to not be terribly confusing. And one of them is request remote assistance. You click that, the administrator gets an email saying this user needs remote assistance, and the administrator can remote directly in and troubleshoot whatever problem the user may be experiencing, thereby saving downtime for the user and whatever travel time is involved for the administrator to go on site. Windows Intune also inventories the hardware and the software of every system connected to the business. So at any given time, you know the hardware profile, you know every single thing installed on any given system. This can be very useful, obviously, in a number of situations, wondering about requirements. It even goes so far as to provide you with service tag numbers. which it's very useful if you're trying to determine warranty information. Say you're dealing with Dell, and you want to look up and see how long a computer has left on it. Well, no problem. If it's in Intune, you can see that immediately from the administration console. You can also set security policies, so this isn't quite as versatile as group policy objects on an Active Directory domain, but you can still very much determine when things happen, what users can do and cannot do from a security standpoint, and make certain that their systems are up to date. You can deploy software and updates to PCs anywhere. That's not just Microsoft software. With the current version of Windows Intune, you can upload installers for, say, Adobe Acrobat. And through grouping and through policies, you can determine which machines will receive this installation. And provided that the installer can run in a quiet mode, unattended installation, a simple script, and you're ready to go. Again, it doesn't matter where the PCs are. They don't even have to be connected to a domain. They just need internet access. You can run on-demand malware scans and reboots as necessary. And, of course, it's going to prompt a user if anyone is logged on to the machine about a reboot that's in progress, so that avoids catastrophic loss of work. But a lot of this can be handled remotely, and that saves you the trouble of having to go on site or call the user and have them reboot their system and so on. Read-only administrators, that's another interesting feature. You can allow another user or someone to act as a quasi-administrator. They can see the administrative console, but they can't actually do anything. Well, that's very important if you want someone to be able to help monitor, but you don't want them to actually be able to affect changes. You can track your software licenses through Windows Intune. So if you have a license agreement with Adobe or anyone really, and you can tell through Windows Intune how long you have left on that license, how many seats are available, how many are used, and so forth. Hardware reports, obviously, because of the inventorying that Windows Intune performs by default. You can have access to any sort of report that you want regarding what's on your system, not just hardware, but software also. Windows Intune can be very aggressive in alerting you to problems, which is all in all a good thing, but you can also, to a great degree, customize how aggressively it alerts you. It behaves very much like a desktop application in its interface, right-clicking, dragging, and dropping, so it's a pretty sophisticated interface. So Windows Intune has no infrastructure overhead. Because it runs on any current software and just about any hardware configuration, you don't have to invest in a server to run it, or to be a central hub for it, and you really don't have to upgrade your machines. Slight caveat here. They must be running a professional version of Windows, and that's starting with Windows XP Service Pack 3. Professional, any version of Vista Professional, or above any version of Windows 7, you're good to go. Reduced maintenance costs. Because your administrators will be catching problems before they really become problems, a lot of things are stopped at their inception. And this saves downtime, it saves a lot of maintenance costs that way. Standardized PC environment, well, everything is updated properly, and if you choose, all of your machines are running the same OS. So that can provide many advantages right there. Instant insight to the PC environment. At any given time, I can query a machine that is on the company's Intune profile and see what its status is. Are there any alerts? Not just problems, but issues that Intune has noticed. Intune is always up to date. As soon as there is an update available for it, it's pushed through. And the pricing is really a great deal at $11 a month per seat. There are plenty of antivirus solutions that cost more than that alone that do not offer you half the versatility that Windows Intune does. So there are all sorts of situations that will benefit from Windows Intune. PCs that are not joined to a domain, well, they're essentially just completely out of bounds unless you happen to be at them at the time. Well, not so if they have Windows Intune installed. They will be treated exactly like any domain-joined PC. Lots of employees work in the field. They carry laptops with them. This is a great benefit also because Windows 7 Enterprise Edition facilitates BitLocker drive encryption. So it's always a concern that if you're in the field, well, what if this laptop is stolen? Well, with BitLocker encryption, that's not an issue. If you don't know the password, that data is secure. But there are many situations like that in which there's going to be limited administrative contact with the machines. And those listed here are just a few of them. And they vastly benefit from the presence of Windows Intune. So as I mentioned a minute ago, Windows Intune starts at $11 a month. The desktop optimization pack adds a few more features for $1 a month extra. Discounts are available for PCs already covered by software assurance and for volume purchases. You can acquire through the Microsoft Online Services portal or through volume licensing. There are various agreements depending on what your situation is, including non-profit pricing. And again, as I mentioned earlier, any Windows Professional, Enterprise, or Ultimate operating system is fine, provided that it's Windows XP Service Pack 3 or later. So the benefits offered by Intune are really impressive for how lightweight an application it is and how non-invasive it is to the systems. It eliminates a great deal of downtime, a great deal of maintenance time, and it simplifies everyone's life. It makes life easier for the user and for the administrator alike. So that's about it for the PowerPoint portion. What I'd like to do now is actually show you the Windows Intune Administrative Console. So here I have our in-house business setup. If I wanted to manage one of our other accounts, I could click switch to another account right here and choose them from a list. And to protect the privacy of our customers, I won't do that. But that overview provides you with information right out of the gate through very hard to miss red X's whether or not there's a problem with one of those. So the system overview, the first thing that you see is a general status update of your PCs. So here we have no endpoint protection issues whatsoever. That's good. No updates are an issue. Now, agent health. If a computer does not contact the Windows Intune service for a prolonged period of time, and Intune pretty much defines that as greater than 2 days, it lets you know that. It doesn't flag it as an error, but, okay, so we have one agent that is not reporting one computer offline. Let's take a look at the offline computer. So by clicking on that immediately, you notice we jump down to computers here, and computers can be grouped however you wish for various sites right here. But this tells me the computer in question, what operating system it's running, how long it's been offline. I see that there is one update pending installation. Lots of information right at your fingertips there. If I go to the overview of PCs, okay, this we already saw. I can create computer groups right here that appear in this pane. So if I had multiple sites, a New York office, a Chicago office, a Los Angeles office, I can group the computers that way. And that becomes very beneficial when you have software that is specific to those sites. The computers in this area need this software, these need this other software, and so forth. It helps to keep all of that separated. If I click all computers, right, so here is a list of every machine that is joined to this particular business account. And that's very easy to do. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. So, updates. Here we will receive notification if there are updates that need approval. They'll pop right up here and you can approve or decline. If we venture farther than that, here are all the updates that, as you see, are not approved because they're not needed on the system. But they're broken down very specifically, so if you wish to categorize what goes on and what doesn't, that's fine. You'll have no trouble doing that. Excuse me. Endpoint protection, this is basically just an overview of what Endpoint has found and what it's doing. So if I go to malware, these 3 malware instances have popped up. No follow-up needed, that's good. Recently resolved, that's good. So they're more historic. But for any given malware, I can see which PC it was on. I can also see that I like this feature, detections to date. It keeps track of how many times that particular one pops up. That can obviously alert you to security vulnerabilities. Alerts, this is just a summary of the alerts and notices that you'll find elsewhere. Software, now because I am running this particular version of Windows Intune, I can't show you the upload feature, but that would appear right here where you could upload software that you want to distribute it to computers in your network. And as I said, so long as you can do an unattended install of the software, it can go up. As far as space requirements go, or available space, I believe it's 2 gigs per seat. So you do have plenty of space to upload applications. Here's an inventory of all the software that's installed on every system for the business. How many, who published it, category, and so forth. Licensing. If you have license agreements, this is where you upload them. And you can keep track of their status, expiration date, how many are using licenses, how many remain, and so forth. Policy. Here you can set policies for individual machines. If I edit the default policy here, you can see that most of this has to do with Endpoint, the malware protection. Endpoint is enabled, obviously, and you can control right down to what it does. Does it create a system restore point before it tries to solve a malware problem? How long does it track resolve malware? How often are the scans scheduled? Should you do a system scan after a number of failures? What are the default actions? Excluded file types, excluded processes, and so on. You can also control updates from here. So there's a lot you can do with the Intune policy settings. Reports. Any given report you want to generate having to do with the status or health of your system is available right here. And you can customize that as you see fit. And as this is the administrative console, when you actually want to install Windows Intune on one of your business's PCs, the client software download is very easy right here. And you will receive a zip file that contains 2 files. One is the installer and the other is a certificate that sees to it when you install Windows Intune, it is associated properly with the business. You run that and your machine will pop up right here and under the unassigned computers list of the overview. So that in general is the administrative aspect of Windows Intune. And as far as what the customer sees, or rather the user sees, excuse me just a moment, let me get rid of PowerPoint. They will receive this link on their desktop, Windows Intune Center. If they open it, here's what they see. They can check for updates if needed, but again, that's pushed out, so it's not especially urgent that they do so. They can choose to scan their system if they see fit. And if they need remote assistance, right here, they click, easy as that. It opens a request, and the administrator can respond and remote in if they need to. So that is a general summary of the Windows Intune functionality. And it provides a great deal of benefit for very little cost and very little effort on anyone's part. So that is essentially all that I wanted to convey. And if there are any questions, please let us know. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, John. The upload is still being completed right now. Once that is finished, we will leave it up. We will leave the live meeting up for the next 5 minutes to be able to access that PowerPoint that John was just using. Thank you again for joining us, and please be sure to go to our events page and keep up with the next webinars that we plan to have in the near future. Thank you.